Hello besties, welcome to I think the first reading vlog since I have moved. I know it's been forever since I last posted. Every time I disappear I'm like, hey, so my life got insanely hectic, but I'm back. Once again, I'm returning to you like nothing happened. I'm so excited for today's video because I am going to be reading new releases. I have 4 books picked out. I feel like the first book that I'm gonna get into everyone already knows. Reckless by Lauren Roberts. I'm so excited to read this, and I actually have already made it 100 pages in because this came out on I think it was July 3rd. That happened to be right after we moved, so I haven't had a lot of time to actually sit down and like binge this like I really want to because we were moving. That was just really unfortunate, honestly, but I'm so ready to finish this book. Part of me wants to finish it today, but then part of me is like, I'm gonna be so depressed once I finish it because then I'm just gonna be back to waiting for the next one. So I don't know if I want to like take my time with it or just like eat it up, you know? So the first new release that we're going to be reading in today's video is Reckless. And actually something so exciting is I went to my first ever like book event. She was in Arizona for like a book signing and stuff, and I wasn't able to get tickets to the actual like book event where she like sits down and answers questions and like talks about the book and all that stuff, but I was able to get tickets to the signing line. And I didn't record anything because I honestly had a lot of anxiety about going. It didn't used to be that bad, but then I feel like after I had kids, like my anxiety got way worse, and then also after COVID, like my anxiety about leaving the house just skyrocketed. So especially just because it was such an unknown, like the bookstore that I was going to I had never been to before. I don't know, it was just a lot of unknown, and so when I'm going somewhere that I've never been before and to a type of event that I've never been before, all of that just made me super anxious about it. And so I decided not to record because I was like, I think that will be too much for me, like I'm already nervous about so much. But I did get some cute pictures, so I'll put them on the screen while I'm kind of talking about everything, and maybe like my next event I'll be able to record, but I had too much anxiety, I couldn't do it to myself. Anyway, so I went to the event with my husband Marky and one of my best friends Sam. We went on a Friday night, so it was like the perfect way to end the week, honestly. But basically at the book signing you are able to get a copy of Reckless signed, and then you're able to bring 2 books to get signed as well. But since my husband came, I was able to also get another book signed, so I was able to get my entire Barnes & Noble edition set signed. But then since my husband had a ticket too, he also got a copy of Reckless signed, so I have 2 signed copies of the regular edition of Reckless, and then I have Powerless, Reckless, and Powerful, the Barnes & Noble edition, signed. So I have so many copies of this book for literally no reason, but it was literally so cool. It was so funny because to see Lauren sitting behind like the chair and talking to everyone was like surreal, because I am a serial stalker of hers on like TikTok and Instagram, so I see all of the videos that everyone posts of her like at the signing events, but it was so just like crazy to see her in real life and be like, oh my god, you're a real person, like you're right here. Thank you, Queen, for giving me one of the loves of my life. Like genuinely, I love you so much. But yeah, it was so much fun. I got some cute pictures, and I actually got to meet one of you guys for the very first time. I have never ran into anybody who watches my videos before in real life. I met the sweetest girls. They called my name and came up to me and said hi, which first of all, I have to say, like, you're so brave for that, because me, if I saw somebody that I like watched on YouTube, I'd be like, oh my god, that's so cool, they're right there, and immediately walk the other way because I'm too scared to say hi. So thank you so much for coming up to me and saying hi. While I was talking to her and taking pictures with her, she was like, oh my god, like I made you something, can I give it to you real quick? And I was like, are you the way that I immediately had tears and had to like stop myself from crying, that is just the sweetest thing. I just like could not believe that they took the time out of the day to 1, come and say hi to me, and 2, bring me a gift. That was just the sweetest thing I have ever heard. So really quickly, I want to open the little gift that she gave me. I was just way too anxious to open it inside the actual event, so I have it right here. And how cute is this? This is just like the most thoughtful thing ever. Like, oh, look how freaking cute this is. I want to save it like this forever. That's so cute. I like don't even want to undo the bow. Maybe I'll just slide it out. I have like an emotional attachment to like letters and cards, so I'm literally saving this forever. First of all, your handwriting is beautiful. Oh my god. Thank you so much, bestie Mila. This is so freaking cute. Shut up. She handmade a Powerless bookmark. Look how cute this is. And the sticker says, no books were harmed. That's so funny. And she put the most iconic quote, if I'm to be her enemy, I want it to be because she loathes herself for wanting me. And she included some cute little book stickers. I have to open this and see. First of all, I already see This is so cool. Like, this is so freaking cute. This one is so accurate. I read past my bedtime absolutely every single day, and she included some tabs. This is so just thoughtful. Thank you so much. I feel like I can't say thank you enough because I cannot believe you did this. Thank you so much, bestie Mila and your sister. It was so cool to meet you guys, and you guys were the sweetest people ever. Honestly, just thank you everyone for your constant support on my videos, even whenever I'm like in and out or whatever it is. Like, I feel like words can't describe how much it means to have such a loving and supportive little book community with you guys. So it's something I will never really get over, I feel like, and I'll just forever be so grateful for all of you guys. So thank you so much. I'm feeling sentimental and emotional today. So now I'm definitely going to have to use these bookmarks today while I am reading Reckless because I just have to. I even kind of would like use this, or maybe I can put it inside of my hold on, I have an idea. Okay, I have my copy of Powerless, which is now signed. I literally cannot believe that, but I kind of just want to like put this. This is so cute. Are you actually kidding me? I'm obsessed. This is now one of my new favorite things. Oh my god, I'm actually obsessed. Look how cute. I'm gonna set this up just so I can like stare at it. I'm obsessed. Now I really cannot wait to get farther into Reckless. Like I said, I am about 100, I think I'm just over 100 pages. Yeah, 108 pages into Reckless. So far, it is not letting me down at all. I was honestly kind of worried because the first book was just so good. Like, it was 6 stars for me. I am going off of vibes, and the vibes were a 10,000 out of 10 for me in Powerless. So I had very, very, very high expectations for this book. And the place where like the plot ended, I feel like there were so many ways like it could go, and so far I really like the way that it's going. Not too much has happened. I feel like it's kind of setting up, and I know that I have seen Lauren Roberts say that this book, because it's going to be in a trilogy of 3 books, so I have heard her say that this book is kind of like a little bit more calm before things just go absolutely crazy in the 3rd book. So I'm not expecting too much out of this one now after like seeing her say that multiple times, like plot wise, but like vibes, they're good so far. So I'm going to continue reading this throughout today. I have on my Kindle as well. I am annotating this one as well because I annotated Powerless and Powerful. I just want them to like all be annotated all together, and let's be honest, every other page there's something that they say that I'm like, butterflies, you know, like I'm actually crying. And then the second book that I want to mention, I actually already started this one on audiobook. It was one of my book of the month picks. It's The God of the Woods. This one I'm like very intrigued for. I'm not that far into the audiobook, honestly, and I didn't realize how long it was. This is like, it's almost 500 pages, and I'm kind of confused about the genre because I think on book of the month it said it was like a literary fiction or something, but then on Goodreads everyone rates it as like a thriller, like a mystery thriller. So I don't know, but the premise of it is basically about a summer camp, and one of the girls goes missing, who's like the niece of the owner or something like that, and it's happened before or something. I don't know, but I thought it was like perfect for like summer vibes, and for some reason I have been like only in the mood for mystery thrillers or fantasies. Honestly, romantasy has been like my #1 for the past few months, which is so weird because everyone says like, oh, it's summertime, like read summer romances, like make sure to get your summer reads in. And I think part of it is because I really just don't like the summer. Like, I try to be a summer girly because I feel like everybody loves summer, but I just really don't like it. And I feel like I have the opposite thing to where like people get seasonal depression in the winter. Like for me, I feel like the summer rolls around and I'm sad girl. Like, I'm sad girl. I want summer to be over. I feel seasonally depressed in the summer. So I know that's weird, but I just like, the vibes are not it in the summer. Maybe it's because I live in Arizona and so it's literally just so hot all of the time. You're always just hot and sticky and I just want to die. So maybe that's why I hate it here. But anyway, I thought this was perfect because it's summer vibes, because it's like a summer camp, but it's mystery thriller, which is like what I have been vibing with, like that and fantasy romantasy. So I picked this as one of my book of the month picks. Never read anything by this author before, but I thought the cover was so cute. The premise of the story was so interesting. I'm excited to read another mystery thriller. So yeah, I will probably be listening to this on on audiobook throughout the day. Ever since I started listening to audiobooks, I feel like I literally can't get a chore done without listening to an audiobook. Like, I don't really want to listen to music 99% of the time anymore while I like clean or organize or do anything. I'm just like, what audiobook should I listen to? I will be listening to this. They have it included in the Spotify premium audiobooks. So this, and then I also am going to sit down and read some of Reckless during the day as well whenever I get a second. So these are the two new releases that we are starting off today's video in. Sorry that I'm literally yapping so hard right now. I just feel like it's been so long since I last talked to you guys. So much has happened. I wanted to talk about the Reckless release signing thing. It wasn't a release party. It was like just a book signing, but it was so cool for me because I've never done that before. I got to meet one of you guys. Just crazy stuff. So much crazy stuff, and I needed to tell you guys about it. So now that I'm done, I am going to go out the day. I don't know how much I will be updating you guys throughout today. I'm probably just gonna be hanging out with the kids. I know I have some organizing that I need to do in their room, so lots of audiobooking today. I'll probably come back to you guys a little bit later. Like right now it's 10 a.m. Oh my god. My kids have recently been waking up at 6, and like by the time it hits 10, I feel like I've lived an entire 12-hour day. Anyway, I'll probably check in with you guys around like 3-4 o'clock with any book updates I may have. And then we'll also chit chat later tonight because that's when I have the most time to read books. Okay. So remember whenever I told you I would check in with you at 3? I lied. It's now 9:41 p.m. Basically today I just was doing like chores around the house all day. We have family coming into town in the next few days, so I really wanted to get all of our clothes washed, all of the kids' clothes washed, and just like do some organizing because we're at the point of moving where like everything is unpacked, but it's not organized necessarily. Like whenever I move, I feel like I just get all the stuff unpacked and then do like a second round where I like actually go through and organize everything the way it's gonna be like more long term. So yeah, that's basically what I was doing all day long. I listened to The God of the Woods for a lot of today, honestly, and in between listening, whenever I would sit down and take breaks and like while I was eating lunch and stuff, I would just grab the book and like read along with the audiobook. That's actually something that I really like doing, and like honestly it's a really good trick for if you're struggling to get into a book or pay attention to a book because you have ADHD. If you're able to get like a free copy of the audiobook of the book that you are currently reading through like Spotify. I mean, I know it's not free through Spotify because you have to like pay for premium to get it, but a lot of audiobooks are included. Like this one is on Spotify premium, or you can look on Libby to see if you can get like a library copy of the audiobook for the book you're reading. If you like listen to it while you read along, it helps you like get into books, pay attention to the book whenever you're having a hard time concentrating. Like that's been a super huge hack for whenever I'm having like really hard concentration days. But in general, sometimes I just like to do that if I'm like planning on listening to a book majority like audiobook format, but I own the physical copy. I like to try and like read along when I am able to. But a lot of times I just choose audiobooks like specifically so I have something to listen to while I'm doing things around the house. So like I don't even know if what I'm saying makes sense. I'm just yapping at this point. Anyway, all of that to say, I made it to page 240 in The God of the Woods. So I'm about like halfway through the book, which is crazy. A couple of things so far about the book. So remember whenever I said that I was kind of confused if it was like a mystery or a literary fiction? I feel like I understand now like why it would be listed as a literary fiction, but then also I understand why people would say like, oh, it's a really good mystery, because the plot of the book like is centered around a mystery. Like I said, it's about a summer camp. It's really weird. So it's written in third person and it jumps around in the timeline. Like it'll be like summer 1950 something, and then it'll be like August 1975 day 1. Like it'll go back and forth. But not only that, so it's in third person, there's like a bunch of different like time periods. Every chapter kind of is like a different part of the story, which I do kind of like because I feel like a lot of documentaries are told in that way too, where they like go through the timeline and kind of like slowly piece everything together. But not only that, but there's also like so many different POVs in this book. Like I think that there's like 4 or 5 different characters that the chapters kind of rotate through, and you'll hear like their point of views reviews, but then still there's been like a couple people that have only had like 1 or 2 chapters so far. So I don't know, I feel like I'm glad that I'm listening to it in audiobook format because like I said, like the plot is centered around a mystery, but it definitely reads like a literary fiction because a lot of the scenes are kind of like mundane, I guess, if you will. Like it's a mystery because you get information through those scenes, but a lot of it is literally just like observing mundane events, if that makes sense. Like nothing shocking or crazy has happened, but I've learned a lot of information so far throughout the last 240 pages. So I don't know, right now I'm feeling kind of just like middle of the road with it. I am only halfway, so I feel like the second half of the book is definitely going to determine whether I end up like on the higher end of the rating scale or the lower end of the rating scale, because right now I'm kind of just like middle of the road. Like I'm enjoying it, but like I'm not like overly enjoying it and I'm not like disliking it. I'm just like genuinely like middle of the road. It's just been fine, and that's literally it. So I definitely feel like though if I was not listening to the audiobook, I would not have made it this far today, just because like I said, it is moving pretty slowly, especially because I have ADHD, like because there's nothing really like gripping in the story, and I don't honestly feel too invested in the characters and stuff like that. I feel like I probably would not have been able to make it this far in one sitting, at least today, if I was not listening to the audiobook. So definitely glad that I decided to listen to the audiobook for this one because I feel like it's gonna help me get through the book. So that's where we're standing with her. On the other hand, we have Reckless by Lauren Roberts. So I actually was reading this on my Kindle earlier. I don't even think I read that much. I think by the time that I finished cleaning, I was only able to read for like an hour. I was able to read like 30 pages of Reckless during the day today. I don't really have a huge update because I only read like 30 pages, other than the fact that I'm still having a great time. So my plan for tonight is just to get pretty far into Reckless. Honestly, I'm feeling like I want to binge it. Like, I don't know, I'm just so conflicted because I don't want it to be over yet, but then I also am like, I just want to sit and like get lost in the world because I haven't really had the chance to like read for hours and hours and hours with Reckless. And I feel like the best way to like get lost in a fantasy book is whenever you have like a multiple hours to just get lost in the world and like not think about literally anything else. So that's kind of what I want to do, even though I feel like I'm kind of gonna regret it once I finish it because then I'm just gonna have to wait for the next book to come out. But my Kindle says I have 5 hours and 38 minutes left, and I feel like it's usually pretty accurate for like how long it will take me. So I kind of want to read for like 2 hours, 2.5 hours. It's only 9:50. I usually go to bed around like 12, I feel like. Yeah, so if I read for like 2 hours or 2.5 hours, I'll still be around my same time frame, and then I could probably finish it tomorrow, which is so sad but so exciting. Like I'm excited to finish it, but like I already know like I don't want it to be over. So mixed emotions on that one. But yeah, I am just going to read for a little bit and then I'll probably check in with you guys tomorrow after I've gotten through a good chunk of Reckless. Okay. The switch from like me being giddy because the tension to me being like sad. Like when the enemies love her, it's like hee hee hee, but when the enemies are enemies, then it's like, oh, it hurts my heart, you know? But I just love them so much, and something about Lauren Roberts is just like, she knows how to write a man. Like she knows how to write a man who will like, I don't know, just the tension. Like that was the biggest thing from the first book too, was like the tension is just so good because it's not like romances and smut. It's like just the way that they talk to each other is like, you know, like I don't even know how to explain it, but that was just so funny because the switch up, I'm like 1 second I'm like hee hee hee, 1 second I'm like, oh my god, my heart hurts. Just so good, like so good. It's just like entertaining and enjoyable. I feel like I'm not super critical on like the actual like writing of a book, I guess, like if it's sophisticated or something. I'm like, I genuinely just want to be entertained. Like I literally just want to eat it up. Can you give me butterflies? Can you make me fall in love with a man that doesn't exist? You know, like can you break my heart into a million pieces, but do it in a way that I will recommend all my friends do it too? Like I'm here for the vibes, and honestly I'm pretty easy to please. I feel like, needless to say, I'm still having a great time. Hello, I feel like I'm so close to the camera. I'm still trying to figure out like cute recording angles since we've moved. I feel like nowhere I go to film looks right. Anyway, the last time I actually talked to you guys, I think was Tuesday, and that was when I was starting, well, not starting, but I was just going to be listening to the audiobook of The God of the Woods and then reading some Powerless. No, I did check in. Then I read that night. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so then on Wednesday, I didn't listen to, I don't think any of the audiobook on Wednesday because Wednesdays are Mark's new off days, first of all. So on Wednesday, we ended up going clothing shopping for Bowie, and when you saw me reading in the car, I was waiting for Bowie to finish getting his haircut with Marky because Bowie is going to be starting kindergarten next week. It's literally depressing. I mean, it's exciting, depressing for me. So anyway, we were like just running around doing a bunch of stuff to get him prepared for that, like getting him clothes and getting his haircut and getting him like last minute school supplies. So Wednesday was like a super busy day. I really didn't have that much time to read besides whenever I read for a little bit in the car, but I only had like 45 minutes, I think, or maybe it was like an hour in the car that I read. That was Wednesday. Today's Thursday. This morning we had Bowie's Meet the Teacher, which was so just like cute and emotional. But then when we came home, I did quite a bit of reading. First of all, I have to talk about Reckless because I have made it so far into this. I am on page 306. I think I'm like down to my last 100 pages of this. It's so crazy because like, I think I already mentioned this before, but I remember Lauren Roberts posted a TikTok and was like, maybe it wasn't a TikTok, maybe it was like in one of the like question and answer things from one of her signing events, but she basically said that this book is supposed to be like a little bit more chill before like the last book, which is supposedly gonna be like more chaotic or something. And I definitely like understand what she was saying with this because I feel like the first 100 pages of this was like plotting, you know, if that makes sense. If you know like where the first book ends off, I feel like for this book I was expecting a lot to be going on like plot wise, and the first 100 pages were definitely giving that, like a lot was going on plot wise. From page like 110 to where I am now, I cannot believe how much of the book I have gotten through compared to like what has actually happened in the book. Like I feel like nothing really crazy plot wise has happened since like the 100-page mark. It's just been a lot of like conversation, and it's really weird because it's not like I haven't been bored at all, but I also just feel like it's just not as much plot as I was expecting for the book. But it's just really weird because it's like I've gotten through it super quick. I haven't been bored at all. It's just like so different than what I was expecting, especially after the first 100 pages, because I feel like it was not escalating, just a lot happened within the first 100 pages, and then it just like there's been like minor plot developments, but like nothing crazy. I don't know if any of that made sense, but that's basically where I'm at. I have seen on TikTok people like sobbing at the end of this book, and right now I have genuinely no theories as to what would happen by the end of this to like tear me apart emotionally. I was so tempted to finish reading it earlier because my Kindle says I only have like an hour and 30 minutes left, I think, and I was sitting on the couch next to Bowie while he was playing Minecraft. I was gonna sit there and finish it, but then like every 2 seconds he was like, oh mom, look at this dragon, oh mom, look at this, oh mom, this. And so I felt like I wasn't able to get like fully emotionally invested in this, and I didn't want to end the book with like distractions, so I decided to put it down until the kids went to sleep tonight so that I could just like sit down and actually focus on the book and not, I don't know, I just feel like you experience books differently if you have time to like not be distracted or just like focus on being in this world, or I don't know if that makes sense. An update on The God of the Woods. I listened to quite a bit of this on Monday and then also today because we're having family in town from Oklahoma. So today we did a lot of like cleaning around the house just to like prepare for having guests and everything. So I had quite a bit of time to listen to the book. I don't know exactly what page I'm on. I'm on or around page 272 in The God of the Woods. I feel like we're only just now starting to get to the point where there's some like plot developments that are kind of like leaning more into the mystery side of the story, if that makes sense. Because I think the last time I talked about this, I talked about how like I understood why people would consider it like literary fiction, because there are a lot of parts of this book where like it definitely reads like a literary fiction, but then obviously like the whole premise of the plot is kind of like centered around a mystery. But I feel like throughout the book so far, and I'm like halfway through, like majority of it has just been the mundane conversations or like looks back in the past, and like I don't know, very much giving, like literary fiction. But within the last like couple chapters that I've read, it's kind of started to slowly build up a little bit more. I'm definitely glad that I'm listening to this on audiobook, because I really don't think if I was reading this in the physical book that I would be this far or be motivated to continue reading it. But because I'm listening to it, every time that I've had like things to do around the house, I've actually like been really excited to have it to listen to. So those are my book updates for these. I'm gonna just open my Kindle, lay in bed, finish the book. I'll probably update you sometime tomorrow about my final thoughts and rating on Reckless, and we will transfer over all my tabs tomorrow together. Okay. Hello besties. It's actually been a few days. The day that I finished Reckless, we had some family come into town for my younger sister's baby shower and then my older sister's white coat ceremony. She's going into medical school, so those were like two huge events. We had a ton of family in from out of town, so I didn't end up recording anything else after I finished Reckless and added in all of my annotations and everything like that. Everyone has gone back home and things have kind of settled down, but we also started kindergarten, which is so sad but like cool at the same time. We're kind of getting into a new routine of everything with like getting Bowie to school and then it just being me and Cody during the day instead of all three of us and different things like that. I wanted to go on here and continue with this vlog because it's taking me quite a bit longer than I was anticipating because I just wasn't thinking about the fact that we had so many events going on, and I want to get this video out for you guys so I can get back to posting. So anyway, I'm yapping. As you guys saw, I did finish Reckless, and then I also did end up finishing The God of the Woods on audiobook as well. I'll start with Reckless, obviously, because I finished that one first. I think I rated this 4.5 stars, and I was going back and forth between 4 stars and 4.5 stars because I loved this, okay? I love this. I love Peyton and Kai. I love this world. But my one complaint is I wish that there was more plot development. With that being said, the reason I didn't dock it too many points for not having a lot of plot development is because like she literally said this is, you know, an in-between book, and like clearly I enjoyed it, okay? Let the tabs speak for themselves. Literally every other page I was like, oh my god, tab. Because the way that they speak is just like so poetic and beautiful, and I just eat it up every single time. So that's why I didn't dock it too many points, but I do wish it was like honestly 200 pages longer of just like plot development, because not much really happened through the course of this book. I feel like plot wise we're not that far from where we started at the beginning of the book. Like obviously the ending, cray cray, I did see it coming, and I wish I'd said something, because I remember I read something and I thought to myself like, oh my god, if this happens in the end, like that would be crazy, but there's no way, like there's no way. And then it did, it fully happened. So patting myself on the back for that one because I saw it coming. But yeah, I just like, not much happened. The banter was really cute, but it did get to a point where I was kind of like, I felt like they were kind of saying the same things over again, but then at the same time, like I love it. So I'm like, I'm not complaining. So I gave it 4.5 stars because ultimately I ate it up. I loved it. I flew through this book. I annotated and tabbed so many different things in here, and I'm so excited for the last book. I'm so glad that I annotated it because I annotated Powerless too, and them next to each other is just like so satisfying. I did annotate Powerful as well, but I'm letting my friend borrow that right now so that she can read Reckless, but so satisfying and so cute. So yeah, I'm gonna be dying inside until the next book comes out, and I'm kind of sad that it's gonna be the last book, but I am pretty sure I saw Lauren Roberts either in an interview or something like that. She said she loves duologies, and I think after this series is over, she's planning on writing a duology, I think she said. I don't know. If I am inaccurate in that, then just nobody quote me. Like I never said that. very excited, loved that. A tiny bit disappointed with not as much plot as I wanted, but it's to be expected, especially whenever it's like 150 pages shorter than the first book, and she said it's like an in-between. So next, I finished The God of the Woods. I listened to this on audiobook. I think the last like 100 pages I listened to the audiobook and read along with it because I felt like listening to the audiobook, because at that point like I've gone 300 and something pages listening to it, so she was the characters, but I wanted to hold a physical copy. And sometimes I love listening to audiobooks while reading along. I know some people don't like that, but I just remember like in school in English when we would like read books, I used to love when they would play the audiobook and we would read along. I did used to like wish that the audiobook would be faster because my eyes would like go ahead of the audiobook and then I'd have to like backtrack, but I'm able to control the speed now. I'm an adult. Sometimes I really enjoy reading along with audiobooks, so that's what I did for the last like 100 pages of this book. In this book, I rated 3 stars because I just feel very like middle of the road with it. Like I really don't hate it, but I don't love it. Like it was just like a decent read and now I'm gonna move on. Like there was nothing crazy for me to say about it. I feel like some people might like this more than I did. It just felt like super long. Like it felt really long, and I was confused by this book because I think on Book of the Month they have it listed as a literary fiction, but then if you look at Goodreads, like people review it as a mystery, and I feel like if you go into this wanting like full mystery vibes, you might be a little bit let down like I was, because I feel like yes, the plot is centered around a mystery. It's about a girl that goes missing while at summer camp, and like years prior to that her brother had gone missing at the same summer camp and was never found. So like the plot of the story is technically a mystery, but I feel like everything written in between the actual mystery is very much giving literary fiction. I feel like maybe that's why they put it as literary fiction, because it just felt like a case study on like all these different characters. And like I feel like if I was not listening to the audiobook, I would have DNF'd this, because one, I feel like I would have just been so confused because there's 10 different thousand timelines going on, and there's also like so many different POVs, and each timeline has different POVs, and it's just like I feel like I would have been so confused if I was trying to keep up with this like just in my brain reading it physically. And two, I just feel like I would have gotten bored. Like I feel like in the beginning like the premise got me, but then the middle was just like dragging. Like this book is almost 500 pages and I feel like it was so much longer than that. Like don't get me wrong, 500 pages, that's a pretty long book honestly, but it felt so much longer than that. It was just dragging on, and then I didn't love the ending. Like I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like my favorite like thrillers, mysteries, whatever, the ending is like satisfying. Like either it's a huge plot twist or like the way it ends, you're like kind of surprised, but it's also very satisfying. And one, I feel like I was not super like shocked or surprised. It wasn't like a huge, you know, twist or turn. And then I also wasn't very satisfied by the ending. Like I feel like there's so many other ways it could have ended that I would have been way more satisfied with. So that was just a letdown too, after like making it through this super slow, long story for me. So I'm definitely glad that I decided to listen to the audiobook for this one. I don't think I would have been able to finish it, but I'm giving it 3 stars because I feel like I do see how some people might like it a lot more than I did. And I also just feel like I don't dislike it. Like I feel like it can't go into the 2-star range because that's getting into like I dislike this book, and that's not the case. I just wasn't wowed by it, and I don't know. I guess that's all I have to say about it. If you really like literary fiction with like a little bit of mystery, I feel like the writing was done very well. There was a couple things in the plot where I felt like it was questionable. Like one of the characters did something and went to jail for it like in the past, and whenever it's revealed like what they went to jail for, I feel like it was a pretty serious thing that was kind of like grazed over and like made not a big deal and then never talked about again. And I was kind of like, okay, well that's really weird. Like that's what? So that's all I can say about that without like spoiling anything. I don't want to say too much on it. It just was, you know, middle of the road meh. I probably won't think about it too often besides thinking about the fact that I didn't love the ending. So that is my thoughts on The God of the Woods. Moving on, I'm gonna read one more book in this video and I'm so excited for it. I actually already started the book on my Kindle. I think I'm like 180 pages into it, but it is The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King by Carissa Broadbent. This is the second book in the Crowns of Nyaxia duet, is that? No, the Nightborn duet. Okay, so the first book in this is called The Serpent and the Wings of Night, and I rated it 5 stars. It was so good. It was so good. It was my first Carissa Broadbent book I've ever read, and I feel like I really like her writing. Like I really want to read the Daughter of No Worlds trilogy, I think it is, because I just feel like I really like her writing. I rated The Serpent and the Wings of Night 5 stars, and then there's a standalone novella that goes between this and that, and it's called Six Scorched Roses, and I didn't expect much of it because it's literally, I think, just over 200 pages or less than 200 pages, like pretty short, and I rated that 5 stars too because it was just so good. Like, I still, thinking back on that, I can't believe how much depth and like plot and like romance and how connected I got to the characters in such a short amount of time. Like, it was just such a well-written story for how short it was, so I rated that 5 stars too. So now we are moving on to the second book in the duology, The Ashes and the Starcursed King. This was highly anticipated for me, and it was released, well, okay, I think technically it was released, like, what is it called? There's an indie version of this that was already released, but the traditionally published version recently released. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know. Like, I genuinely don't know what's going on. I just know that I got this in the mail a couple months ago, and I'm so excited to read it. I am reading it on my Kindle because for some reason the pages on this copy are like a lot more thin, and I don't love the reading experience of that, so I have been reading it on my Kindle instead. I also just like fly through it on the Kindle, I don't know why. But yeah, so that is what I'm going to be reading. I'm so excited to get through this. I'm 35% through. I'm on page 210. It's just so good so far. Like, literally, even just through the first 20 pages, you're just instantly put back in the world. If you don't even know what this duology is about, let me tell you that first of all. It's basically like a world of vampires. There's 2 different breeds of vampires, and in this world there's like a super strong like vampire king, and he ends up taking in a human daughter and like raising her in the vampire world. And so it follows that daughter, and she basically enters these trials called the Kajari, and whoever wins the Kajari gets 1 wish from the goddess Nyaxia. She'll like grant any wish, but the trials are like super deadly. She's going to be going up against other vampires. So the vampire king basically raises her up her whole life to be able to survive in the vampire world, teaches her how to fight, like basically is prepping her to be able to fight in these trials so that she can win and ask for, I forget what it's called, but it's basically where she's like turned into a vampire and like linked to him so that they can be stronger or something like that. I don't know. So that's what the first book covers, is like the trials and all the stuff. So now we are following her in this book, and it's just so good. It's literally one of the best enemies to lovers, in my opinion, that I have read so far. Like, it's up there with ACOTAR and Powerless for me. Like, it's so good. So yeah, very excited to finish this. I think it says I have 8 hours and 40 minutes left on the Kindle, so my goal is to read like 4 hours of it today and then finish it tomorrow. So we'll see how that goes. I am going to read a little bit more of this, and then I will check in with you guys probably tonight after I have read a bit today, and then we'll read more tonight. But those are my updates, so I will see you guys later. Oh my god, I cannot stop reading this book. It's obviously much later. This lighting is honestly kind of horrifying. I feel like I have like nothing set up in my room, so like every angle is just a weird angle, so this is just what we're going with. I hate this angle, actually. Okay, maybe that's a little bit better. I don't know. Anyway, it is much later. We laid the kids down a while ago, and then I took a bath and I read for a little bit on my Kindle, and I honestly read so much more than I was expecting today. Just like throughout the day, I would like sit down. This is why I love having a Kindle also, because I feel like whenever I drive places, if I have like 5 or 10 minutes that I'm just sitting in the car, like I'll pull out my Kindle and read, or just like, I don't know, I feel like it helps me get so much more reading done during the day because I can pull it out at random times like very easily and like not worry about carrying around a physical copy all the time to be able to read, if that makes sense. So if you don't already have a Kindle, shout out to my girl, because I get so much reading done, I feel like, because I have a Kindle. Anyway, total side note, I read so much of the book today. I am on page 374. So I read almost 200 pages today, which I feel like is so much, especially for a day where, I mean, I guess I didn't have too much going on today. Like, I took Bowie to school. I just like hung out with Coco. So I guess I didn't really have that much going on today. I lied. Yeah, I read almost 200 pages. I'm 62% through the book. I'm on chapter 47. And this book, so good. So first of all, earlier I was talking about the novella that goes between the first book and this book called Six Scorched Roses, and I've heard so many people say like, oh yeah, like you don't really have to read it, like, you know, I skipped over it, like this, that, whatever. And it's all like, it kind of reminds me of how people don't read A Court of Frost and Starlight, and I'm like, I could never skip that book. Like, I'm so glad that I read it. I can't imagine a world where I like would just be fine not reading that novella. Like, some people just skip over it because they think it's useless. And I'm like, dude, you're missing out on like so many little stories. So anyway, I feel so dumb because I am like horrible at remembering characters' names. If you have watched some of my other videos, it's like so clear. Like I will finish a book, go to like update you guys about it and give my final thoughts and review, and already have forgotten the main characters' names. Like I can't remember their names for the life of me. And so I was like a good 300 pages into this book, and one of the characters said something and I was like, oh my god, that sounds so familiar. Like, have we met this character before somewhere? And then I was like, wait, like blah blah blah, I don't want to say his name. And I was like, was he in the novella? And then I like looked it up and I was like, oh my god, he totally was. And so now I feel like if you don't read the novella, like if I hadn't read the novella, there's like so much backstory and like depth to the character that I have because I read the novella. But if you did not read the novella, like you're missing out on so much, I feel like. And maybe I just have different taste, you know, like I guess maybe to some people it's not important, but like I love having more backstory and more detail. And like maybe that does have to do with my taste, because I feel like a lot of times when I see other people's reviews on books where they don't like it because it's like too much detail or too much this or too much that, like I end up liking it for that reason. So like maybe that's why I like the extra novellas and stuff, because it doesn't seem as like unnecessarily it doesn't seem as unnecessary to me to like get extra story and extra detail on characters who aren't the main character and like this and that and whatever. So if you haven't already read this series, I would 100,000% recommend reading the novella. That's the first thing I want to say. Second of all, this is so good. It's so good. Like I was already enjoying myself, but I'm so invested in this, and I'm so like nervous to see how it ends, because I know that in this, I think I talked about this last time that I updated you, or the time before or something, but how in this series it's supposed to be, I think, 3 different duologies, so 6 books total, like in a related world, but each duology will follow different characters, so like 3 sets of 2, I think, each with a novella in between. So 9 books, is that, can I do math? I'm really nervous to see how this ends, because I don't know like how much of these characters we will get after this duology is over, and I'm just like, I'm so connected. And when I tell you, this is like genuinely, besides ACOTAR so far, I feel like one of the best enemies to lovers that I have read, where I'm just like, yeah, so my heart is yours. Like my heart is yours. It's just, it's so good. And I think I have like 4 hours and 50 something minutes left, it says on my Kindle, and I feel like my Kindle is usually pretty accurate to like reading time and how much I have left and stuff. So I'm gonna read a little bit more tonight. I am pretty tired, and we've been waking up pretty early to get Bowie to school. We all used to like sleep in together because we had nothing going on. Like Mark would go to work and then we would like lay in bed and watch Bluey and have breakfast and whatever. And now we're like, it's 6 o'clock, everybody get up, breakfast, get ready, you know, whatever. So that's been very different, and we're all adjusting to a new schedule because none of us were morning people beforehand. We would kind of just mosey out of bed. So I have been getting tired earlier, which is totally new for me because I'm such a night owl. Like I usually would stay up till like 2, 3 reading, like whatever. So I've been getting tired a lot earlier. Like right now it's only 10:20 and I'm already feeling tired, which is like just so weird for me. It feels so early. I know to a lot of people that's not early necessarily, more late, but anyway, I'm totally rambling. I am going to read for probably like an hour tonight if I don't fall asleep before that, and then probably finish it tomorrow. Honestly, like you know when you get to a point in a book where it's like so good that you want to savor it, but you know you're not gonna have like the strength to not just like binge the rest of the book. That's pretty much where I'm at. Like I want to shut off the entire world and like lose myself in this world and finish it, even though I know I'm gonna regret it once it's over, you know, because the next book in this series I don't think comes out until the fall, so that's depressing. But all of that being said, I feel like every time I start talking to the camera I just like black out a little bit and I have no idea what I just said, so hopefully some of that made sense. I am going to read now, and I will check in with you guys tomorrow, either while I'm finishing the book or once I finish the book, with my final thoughts. I feel like this is gonna be a 5-star. Like I feel like it's gonna be something would have to go so severely wrong for it to not be a 5-star at this point. So we'll see how it ends, and if it ends up being another 5-star, which would be kind of crazy because that means the whole duology, including the novella, will all have been 5 stars for me. So that will be like right under ACOTAR for me, because so far ACOTAR, like every single one has like been a 5-star for me, one after another. It's kind of crazy. So I don't know. Right now this just has my heart. I will check in with you guys tomorrow. Okay. Hello, it is the next day. I actually finished this today. I was not expecting to finish it before tonight, but today I only had like 2 hours and hi Coco. Today I only had like 2 hours and 30 minutes or something left of the book. I ended up just sitting down and finishing it today, and it absolutely did not disappoint. This is definitely a 5-star read for me, which is crazy because that means that the entire duology was all 5 stars, and that's like including the novella in between. Like, that means every single book was 5 stars. So obviously I just like ate it up, and I went on Goodreads to look at the reviews, and I'm so surprised at how like split it is. Like, I feel like all the reviews are people either were super disappointed by it and like really hated it, or like absolutely loved it the same way that I did. And I'm so glad that I'm on the side of like, I literally loved it so much. I ate it up. I was like so emotionally invested. I feel like this was just so beautifully written. I definitely feel like I can officially say that I'm a huge fan of Carissa Broadbent's writing. It was just so good. I love the way that it ended, and I'm so excited to see like further in the series. I want to look up who the next duology is following because I know that it's like different characters. I know it's different characters, but like in this same world, and I think that they said they're supposed, or she said there's supposed to be like 3 more books, or I don't even know what's what. I need to look up what comes next in this world, but I really want to start. I think it's called The Daughter of No Worlds. I don't know if that's what like the trilogy is called, but I think I literally talked about all this before. That brings us to the end of today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed reading some new releases with me. Sorry if this video is a little bit like weird because it was 1 through the span of like such a long time period, and 2, like I just haven't vlogged or made like a reading vlog in so long. I feel like it's like not supernatural to me again yet, but hopefully after this video I am able to start posting more consistently again. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.